the Mr. Beast stuff came out. And obviously we're a little late, but like it's still happening. Things are like are continually
Lunchly. Okay, what the stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
So did you watch like all the Dog Pack videos? Do you know Dog Pack?
I think I know.
He's the guy that started posting all the videos about whatever, like exposing quote unquote Mr. Beast. Dog Pack,
the former employee.
Yes. So I don't know how many videos he released now, but I know like at least 3. But like every single time it's like supposed to be like more and more and more serious stuff. And I watched the first one, and then the other 2 I just kind of watch creator covering it, but they obviously take excerpts from like his videos, take clips from his videos, and it's crazy. And the thing is even before all of this broke, like we don't like Mr. Beast.
No. And the more that I talk to people about Mr. Beast, the more I find that a lot of men love him or are very neutral. And I'm like, you have no opinion on Mr. Beast is crazy. Or like
after the news already break. Or and
I'm like,
that's crazy.
Because their argument is like, oh, like he's doing so much good in the world. And I'm like,
but he's also doing so much bad in the world.
So like that doesn't really, that's net zero right there.
I feel like, I don't know. I used to like him like when he was first. So I'm a big PewDiePie fan, which, you know, just I already know that statement alone. Like, okay. But I do like him, like especially like as he became older. I think he's very much like,
she has PewDiePie merch.
Okay.
Hey, she's a merch buyer, guys. It's okay. It's fine. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. But so I like, and you know, he's like in Japan, like with Marzia, like living his life. Like he's not. I just feel like he's not. The phrase I would use is he's not clawing for relevancy. Like he's like, he's obviously all these people, they made so much money. Like they don't need, you know?
Right.
And obviously he had some controversial thing in the past, but like, I'm a fan. I'm a PewDiePie fan, but I found out about Mr. Beast through PewDiePie. Like it was when him and T-Series were like doing the war, and then he was like advertising everywhere for PewDiePie.
The sub war.
Yeah. And so that's like how I knew of him. And at first I'm like, oh, like this is like cool. Like he's like doing a bunch of like philanthropy, and that's really cool. But then he started going on podcasts, and then I started like listening to them, and then I'm like, this guy is kind of odd.
See, this is the problem with podcasts. People be saying too much, and look what
self-reporting.
But yeah, no, I think my first interaction with him, my first time seeing him talk or something was in an interview. And I was just like, this guy sounds stupid. Like, why? Because I think it was a clip of him talking about his requirements for a girlfriend or like a wife. Yeah. And I was like,
as a woman, as a girlfriend of someone.
You can't, like, God, it just
seems very like, I believe that he's a very smart person and his IQ is high. Like I think that's pretty obvious. Like, but the EQ is
because like sometimes I feel like IQ doesn't even matter if you're that like low on EQ.
Yeah,
I'm
so
serious.
It just seems so like it's a very like, at least how I feel it, like a very two-dimensional way of looking at life. It's like it's like, for example, the requirements is like, okay, but like what's the point of having all these requirements for a person if you're not gonna like actually love them? Like I just feel like love doesn't come from requirements. You know what I mean? Like it just seems very like lacking of like empathy, or like lacking of like emotional.
Yeah, and he just like uses his followers to gain.
They're all kids too. Like, come on, dude.
Like you're just literally taking candy from babies. That's what Mr. Beast does, guys. Don't support that man.
Yeah, and I feel like the more that comes out, and I feel like
the more I'm getting confirmed that like it's good that I didn't like him because he's a bad person.
And it's just so consistent. Like, all the information is consistent with each other. You know, it's all consistent of like, oh, this is a type of, like, he would do this and this and this, and they all make sense to be in the same area of.
I think he's just very like power and money hungry, and that's where you go wrong.
Yeah, and I think like, so one of the first times that I was like, oh, this is weird, is like, he went on, I think it was Logan Paul's podcast, but I don't know exactly what podcast, and somebody had asked like, oh, like, do you want kids? And he said like, oh yeah, like similar to, I'm not quoting, I'm paraphrasing. Similar to like Bill Gates or Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, like, I want kids to be able to pass on my genes. Yeah. And I just feel like that's a weird take.
Yuck.
Like, that's a weird take. And the thing is, like, I guess like evolutionarily that makes sense, but I just feel like I have never heard another person say that about their kids or wanting to have kids. He was the first person that I heard say that. So I was just like, oh, that's like, so you don't want to like love them, or like, I don't know. It was just very odd. Like, it's just very like lizard, like robot guy.
That's the thing with billionaires. They're all a little odd.
And so, and then now everything that came out, and we're just kind of like, okay, like, come on. Like, did you know about the he wrote a production manual. So it got leaked. So he wrote like a production manual that's like so long, I don't know how many pages, but like talking about like what, like how to be successful in like Mr. Beast's production or something like that. And it's so toxic.
Oh,
it's so toxic. So I don't know if you know Rosanna
Pansino.
Yes,
yeah. I do.
So she made a video on going over the leaked production manual, and it's literally I remember it being like, it's just like a very toxic work culture, which is like very much what it's the opposite of his image, right? Like that he's trying to portray. And so it's like, I remember saying like, it's your task and your priorities is like number one. Like, you have to do it. There's no excuses. Like, if you help somebody else and you fall behind yourself, that's your fault. If like the building is burning and you don't get your task done, that's your fault. Like, it's like very like, I don't think it's new. I think some of that is in corporate culture today, but it's just like, but that's him too. And I feel like so many people complaining about like, oh, like the corporate, especially like Gen Z, like we complain, we like, you know, we talk a lot about like having work-life balance. We fight for that, and we're like, oh, like like boomers corporate culture is toxic and everything, but like he is that too as well.
Yes,
which is very damaging, and like just harboring like allegedly sex offenders, and it's just like, and just like a lot of like alleged sexual harassment complaints within the company itself. His mom is the head of HR for his company. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ew.
Imagine you file an HR complaint and it goes to the boss's mom.
No.
Checks and balances.
Donde está?
Donde está? Like, that's so crazy. Do you know what this feels like to me? It's giving like Elon Musk. Like, not in the sense of the same things happening, but like, I feel like Elon was portrayed to be like a cool billionaire for a really long time. And then I don't know when, but like around COVID time, I feel like a lot of his like opinions came through, and then now we're just kind of like, okay, like you need to, you know, like it's just like, so I feel like it's a lot of like an image trying to portray, and then like it just kind of broke.
Yeah, I think that's like, you know, Cody Co, same thing, right? It's the same kind of thing, and once you say too much, it's over.
It's over.
Bubble is cracked. Yeah, and mask is off. And you are exposed and canceled. So hopefully we know.
And I also just think it's crazy that, like, I mean, I watched do you know Ludwig?
I know of Ludwig.
You know Ludwig?
Yes.
I think he streams. He does some YouTube videos. I don't really follow him super well, but like he's obviously like a very popular creator. So he did a video on like when all this first broke, and he mentioned in there that like Mr. Beast was gonna like respond, and he hasn't responded. And you know what he did instead?
What?
Released Lunchly.
Typical Mr. Beast move. Oh my god. Ugh. Yuck.
Yeah.
That is yuck. He's so yuck. He's just so yuck, period.
But then, so this is crazy because you would say, like, you would talk to guys about this when everything already, like, gone down. And they're still like, oh,
yeah.
he's fine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I'm like, are you a sheep?
Sheeple.
Are you a sheep?